Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all well. I thought I would quickly make a video just to get a few points across to you. Firstly, to thank you all for the tremendous feedback I have had via my website using the website election poll form that I created. Some of you have really gone to great lengths to give me your opinion on issues that matter to you and how you feel about them. And I know that you have taken time and effort to complete these forms, to convey your concerns to me, and they are very valuable. And I am reading through all of them, and I will literally keep all of them where I can refer to them. And in the event that things go well, it is my intention to actually catch up with those of you who do contact me and complete these forms, to perhaps speak to you in person and find out more about your thoughts and suggestions, because ultimately this is not just about reform, this is not just about an election, this is not just about one issue, this is about democracy itself. We don't have democracy now, we have an insult to democracy. What we have now would make Clisthenes turn in his grave. Really, it would. These people have become so arrogant and so dismissive of the masses that they don't even realise that they are destroying not just our country, but they are literally not going to be prepared for what's going to come at them when people decide that they have had enough, and most people are at that point already. We're at the point where the government is pandering to misfits who want to identify as one thing or another, where we have sexual offenders believe that they're entitled to just suddenly identify as a woman and demand to go into a woman's prison. And in fact, that's what happened in Scotland, which may well have been part of the demise of the SNP. And I do hope that it will be the demise of the SNP, because their behaviour, their laws that they have put into place in recent years are an abomination. And I would like to take a minute to thank J.K. Rowling. I've done that online already, for being so brave and standing up for women. And on that note, for years now, perhaps since around 2015-16, when I first came across it, I have been trying to promote awareness of Clare's Law, which was brought in by the parents of a woman who was basically murdered by a violent partner, and it took years of campaigning for them to bring this law into being. And I believe, when I last looked, that police return with information about partners who have a history of violence around 3,000 to 3,500 times a year. In other words, that's 3,000 to 3,500 people per year who make an inquiry with the police using Clare's Law, who are subsequently then contacted by the police and informed that their partner has a history of violence. How many lives have been saved? But how can these lives be saved if the police can't give you the history of that person, because it's somebody who arrived here on a boat, somebody who arrived here on a student visa from another part of the world and then decided to just stay here? Keep in mind, in the last 5 years, we've had 5 million people plus arrive here. That's legally. That's the ones we know of. We also know of the numbers who are arriving on dinghies in the southeast of the country. But what we are not hearing about are those who are arriving on our west coast, because thanks to the ridiculous EU deal that we have no border on the west coast of our country. People from the EU can get into the Republic of Ireland, cross over into Northern Ireland, and there's no passport control, and they can enter the mainland from Northern Ireland. Now, apparently, since the vote on Rwanda, it is alleged that it's been going the other way, with migrants going from England into Northern Ireland and making their way into the Republic of Ireland, and the Republic of Ireland is not very happy about it. Well, guess what? Serves you right, because you actually took the 30 pieces of silver from the EU when we left, and you joined the bandstand of bitterness that wanted to be spiteful to the UK because we left your horrid club. And as we all know, since we left, it has gone downhill faster and faster. It has gone from being 22% of global trade to less than 15% last year. It will be less than 10% by the end of the decade. German car manufacturing is half of what it was a decade ago. They are literally looking around trying to see where they can get money from. They tried to poke the bear, thinking in being the bear being Russia. Behind the scenes, we all know that's what they did, because when they were told not to be dependent on Russian oil and gas, they laughed. Well, it backfired, because where they thought that they could negotiate themselves to be the controlling hand in Russian oil and gas, now they're at the mercy of Russian oil and gas, because it has become far more expensive for them, because they have to buy from elsewhere. And at the same time, recently we have had two major admissions of just how serious things are with the EU. One, they finally admitted that they need us more than we need them. Secondly, they made a proposal for free movement of 18 to 30s, trying to provoke rebellion amongst our youngsters. But there's more to that than meets the eye. That was also about the EU dumping its young unemployed people on the UK. And not just dumping its young unemployed people. What's to stop the EU just granting citizenship to all of these migrants, many of which that they don't want and they can't deport, once they have put into place a facility for them to be able to then just take their ID and come here. So I am delighted that the offer was refused, and I believe it was only refused because the government know that the people are at the end of their tether. We have a government in tatters at the moment, and it is not because this government is anti-immigration, anything but that. Rwanda is a complete and utter joke. In fact, it's not going to do anything whatsoever because they haven't really explained the full details of how it will work. It has just been a 2-year smokescreen. In the meantime, 2.6 million people have come into this country legally, as well as everybody arriving on a boat. So there are so many issues that need addressing, and I want to hear more from you, because as well as all of the national issues such as immigration, education, taxes, the effect of corporation tax, the NHS, there are also many issues at a local level, from crime to the increasing incidence of misogyny in this country, because we have allowed a demographic to arrive here and be let loose in this country who have a mentality that is back in the Stone Age. And rather than address it, we have politicians, police, people from all walks of life who are literally pandering to them, and they expect us to kowtow to these invaders. I say we should not. If they are in this country, they should behave. They have no right to dictate to us. We should be dictating to them our country, our way of life, our rules. If they wish to leave, they can always go. As far as I'm concerned, when you arrive in the UK, either love the UK or leave the UK. Simple as that. Over the coming weeks, I'm hoping to find venues somewhere in the Northampton North area, because I really, really need to be able to speak to people face to face. I need to hear what you have to say to me face to face, good or bad. If it's bad, I need to take it on the chin, because ultimately I'm here to do something for the better good of Northampton North, and to do my small part and hopefully be one of the voices in that madhouse in Westminster. But if I'm given that opportunity, I'll make sure my voice is heard, because I'm here to stir the hornet's nest, and I really, really want to do that. But that's much, much further down the line. For now, I need to speak to people in this constituency. I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear what concerns you, what you agree with, what you don't agree with, because ultimately I believe that I want to do things in a slightly different way to others. That is, I'm not going to stand before you and say I have the answer to this and this and this and this. On the contrary, I'm going to stand in front of you again and again and say we need to deal with this and this and this and that. I'm not really certain how I should do it. I'd like to hear your suggestions. And on that note, with regard to democracy, what is important is this: no individual or group of individuals has ever been or can be or will ever be capable of being trusted without being accountable to the people. For the better good of our country, our first priority is to reclaim true democracy, to ensure that these people are accountable to the people, because at the moment they, apart from a vote once every 5 years, which they often win on by default for many different reasons, people's wishes, people's feelings are ignored. Look how they behaved with Brexit. Look how they behaved with immigration. Did anybody ever ask you your permission for them to literally import 15 or 20 million people into this country over the last couple of decades? And it is 15 or 20 million, regardless of what they say. That's what we know of. There are many issues that need to be addressed, and the only way that we can address them is to actually hear what you have to say and collectively make a voice, raise a voice so loud that we cannot be ignored, because we do have pressing issues and these people are desperately trying to silence us. That nutcase up in Scotland with his hate laws is the epitome of a racist, of a misogynist, of a sinister and insidious, infernal man with issues, who is doing his utmost for one particular demographic. Don't be fooled that he cares about all of the other minorities, because he does not. And I'm hoping that what has happened up in Scotland is payday, not just for him, but for SNP as a whole, because the damage that they have done to Scotland beggars belief. It's unbelievable. And hopefully we can actually learn from that and do our best to ensure that the same thing doesn't happen here in the UK. Anyway, this is only supposed to be a short video. That's all for now. So any suggestions about venues somewhere in Northampton North? I would like somewhere that can fit 50 or 100 people with a big screen, so that I can have a presentation for you to get my message across. That would be lovely. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, you can contact me directly. You can message me. You can go to my website. If you do have strong opinions, please feel free to go to my website and just complete the form. I won't bother you if you don't want me to. It's not a problem at all. But your thoughts, your opinions, your suggestions, they matter. Whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, your opinion is valuable. That's all for now. Thank you very much. Good night, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.